And you could turn off the level, or you could turn off in the standards under feature definitions, where you just turn off. Should be under. I think you'd have to do this in the file though, so it would affect any file that it's referencing in. So that would be under the mesh. I believe. Oh, I'm in the libraries and something. Right. Yeah, just turn off slopes. Now it's gone.
And that should be the proposed DTM line, just because of the way I had it set.
Yeah, it looks dashed over here, but it looks solid over here. So I'm trying to figure out why that is. That might be my graphics card. I don't know. It does some weird things sometimes. Is there,
Actually, speaking of existing features, I have a question about the way I did this. Well, maybe not the existing way. I guess I'll wait till we get to proposed, because it has to do more with the template I did.
Okay. So one of the things, I know you guys had a question on cross-up correction. Some of this, there's two steps on cross-up correction. Sometimes you would want to analyze the existing cross-slope. Is that something you would want to see how to do? Anybody?
So I've done it just using the thematic display. But nowadays there's a checkbox when we request our modulus for the asphalt, and they'll actually measure the cross slopes for us with their profiler. And their data is interesting because it's taken so often. It could just sort, because it's Excel basically, and I could just show the data in the station where it's substandard.
So yeah, there's a way that we can do a template as well that would track the existing cross-slope, and we can generate a report using that. If that's something you'd want to see, I can show you that. It's up to you. This is
well, yeah, definitely take that.
Right now.
You never know when we don't get the other thing that we request, and we need to do it this way.
Yeah, it seems like a good backup check too. I know before, if I remember the method before, you could create like contours, right? To see different.
You just click it in the terrains.
That was the way you had recommended to us, right, Roberto?
Well, no, I was recommending the thematic and highlighting anything that's like below 1.5%.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah, you did a little training for us on that, right?
All right, so I need a active profile, because basically you got to put a corridor in, but I would still put this type of corridor into the existing model file.
You have to use the align RDO1.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a profile on that?
Pretty sure I do.
Turn that off for a second. Okay, good. Sorry, the profile. So we can build a corridor off of it. I do want to keep that on and make sure I have the DTM on there. And that is that set to active. Let's see. Where's model? Yes, it's set to active. Okay. So we'd be able to build it. So I just go into corridors. I'm going to make sure I get the right template library open first. There's nothing showing here, but I assume that's for the file. I assume that's because it's the default one on this file.
This is where you're going to get a really weird library because I took elements from SS10 and merged it with the older version of OpenRoads.
So the feature definitions would just be broken. So let me go ahead and show you. So you go in your template library organizer, and then there's tools menu, and click this dot here, and then you want to go into your, assume you have a workstation install. It's different if you have a server install. You have to go to your server location. And f.connect, organization civil, f. And then I'm going to template library, and the civil f.ord ITL. So I'm going to open that, and I'm going to just pull in what I need out of here, and copy it over to this ITL. So I'm going to want this one here. So the existing pavement slope, there's a folder for it. We still need to clean this up. I thought we had done this, but I guess not. So use the end conditions. The projection service does not work. And it's got a lot of bugs in there in the surety modeling, honestly, here and there. So I can tell you what will and doesn't work. So use the end condition components because we can't get an accurate report from projected surface. So I'm gonna just drag the whole thing, but we don't need to use the others. So click OK. And I click yes when it asks me to save it. So now I got this one. I'm going to go ahead and delete the projector surface because those don't work. So I've got different conditions here. This project, how many lanes is it? 8?
Yeah, it's 8 lane.
And it's curved, so no shoulder. So I'm going to use, so there is no 8-lane one at the moment. And you can certainly create one, but the important thing is really where you have brakes. So you could do this per lane. You could do this per brake. So I guess the question that this raises is, let me say this, do you have, this is where you want to look at the serve RD. If you have any pavement brake lines, that's on. Oh, it's on. So we got the lane lines. Suppose you could use those, but it's not showing a pavement brake there.
I haven't seen any lines aside from the 1030 skips.
So looking at it, there do seem to be, it's not very clearly defined, but there does seem to be a brake at some point, I'm thinking right in this area. So ideally you'd get a pavement brake line, but failing that, yeah, you could probably use these lane lines. So you basically would want to tie this. You would want to tie these with feature definitions to those lines. Sorry, it's the one on top. And I don't know why I can't find a feature definition. So if you ever run into that, you just have to go, because the feature definitions change. So you would have to go and, let's see, template points. All the template points should be in there. Template miscellaneous. So probably the 6-lane one hasn't been updated. So this one does not have a horizontal feature constraint because it's based off the top. Basically, you have in conditions, and these are set to do not construct. You don't see them all. You have multiple in conditions that look for it first horizontally, and then that look for it vertically. They look for the existing ground. Okay, so I'm going to go in here to in condition. See, when I select it here, these are set to do not construct, so you don't see them. But if I select them here, you'll see it. So this is the one looking for the existing ground for on each side. But first, we got to find the. So this is basically the slope. This will measure the slope of the lane. So then this one the report will give you a slope between this point and this point essentially. So it's going to be the slope of that line. You would need to locate this horizontally. So this is defined without a horizontal feature constraint. So I may just leave it like it is. But you could define it. Let's say you've got a lane line or something in here. I don't even know what that's under. You got to have some feature definition.
It might be easy for me just to copy the lane lines in a file and assign them that definition of a pavement break line.
Yeah, this is your existing model file, so you can do that in this. You can do that in this file. But yeah, you could constrain it with a horizontal feature constraint. So I'm going to leave it unconstrained right now, and just apply this template so you can see how the report will work. It's 6 lines anyway, so it's not going to be perfect.
And I guess we'll apply a point control to the lane line.
I'm just going to skip that part. It's just going to show you how you would do the report. But you could do a point control, but if you do have a feature definition, that's all you need, because the end condition is finding the existing ground. All you need to do is determine the lanes horizontally, and you can do it fixed value, or you can do it feature definition.
I gotcha.
Okay, so I'm going to use this baseline. And it doesn't have an active profile. New corridor. Yeah, it's the wrong one. That's the one I want. Okay. Reset for active profile. And I'm just going to leave this default name. It's fine. So it looks like it already found that one, probably because I was selecting it. But for good measure, I'm going to go and just select it here. Pavement slope, 6-lane pavement. And you can do the interval, whatever you want. It's really, this is going to be whatever interval you want to measure it at. So let's say I want to do 50. The only caveat is it's preliminary. You can change it to final, but I'm just going to leave it at a tighter interval, because I know there's a multiplier which kind of make it pretty loose. We're supposed to start on the next section pretty soon here, so I don't want to do too much longer. So I'm just going to do lock to start, lock to ends. So now you see these white features in here. These are the lane lines. So they should update. There we go. So they're not all in the right place. We can tweak that. Maybe I'll just edit the template, put these farther out. But these are the ones that you want to locate, and it's okay to have it shorter. Like you could say, copy these over, a foot or two, just to measure the inside of the lane. If there's some variance where the break is, that's perfectly fine. That's why these are set with gaps to begin with. So clearly, I'm not going to take time to fix it. You can see it's changing the slope, trying to tie the existing ground. It's going all over the place. But this one works pretty well. But this one is hard pressed to work correctly because it's that big jump. So So what you do now is you just need to see the report for that. So let me find my corridor, grab the handle for it. Corridor, not the template. So if I go to corridor reports, and you want the results report, and if this doesn't work, it's probably because I don't have the right name. Okay, that's work. So then you go to this one, the FDT existing 2 to 8 lane. No, that's width. You can measure width too if you have variable width. That's a new report I just added. So here's my slopes at that location. You can format things a little better, like stationing is not set up right. So I can go in here and say, okay, stationing. Get that in the right format. Let me put slope in percent.
This is pretty neat because I in theory then I could do this off my proposed surface as well, right? Or it only works.
So there's a proposed slopes report for that.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll get to that when we cover the cross section on the proposed end, because that's you have to set it up a certain way. It works a little bit differently. And you actually have to modify it. So yeah, you have to tell it which points you want to find it between. So
I see.
This one just has the lane set up. So theoretically, I guess you could use it on a proposed surface and do it that way. That'd be one option, I suppose. But that would only work once you've generated the proposed terrain.
Right.
I'm going to have to check my formatting because it doesn't look like it's respecting the... Oh, that's the problem. There we go. For some reason that might be a new feature, this alternate slope. So you'd probably say if it's more than 10, you'd say use like, use that sort of thing. I think that's the idea. Okay, so it does respect it. Okay. So there you go. Now it's in percentage. So there's your slopes on the lanes, and yeah, once you get those lined up properly, then you can trust the numbers. But that's pretty straightforward. So that you can do a report and say, okay, I got an area here. This is too small. It's less than 2%, or it's too big, or what have you. And remember, this is defined. The interval is defined by the interval of your corridor, including the design stage. So it has that 20 with a multiplier of 5, so it's every 100 feet right now.